or tactical team.
Hey there guys, this is me Malorian, and this will be another Orc Tactical Team. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is kind of a takeoff from our topic last week, which was all about the spoilers we've had so far from the 2017 Steamroller package. This has been the stuff that was first kind of spoiled out of SmogCon. Then Will Pagani came out there and gave more clarification, saying, alright, this is what we can release right now. We got a little bit more from Will Hungerford, and it was really more taking that, and I was talking about the random game length, the new scoring system, and where all my concerns were. Now, there was a lot of people that said, like, well, Malorian, you can't just talk about these things, there's not all the information, and you have to really put things together. Now, I'm going to preface this video here by saying we still don't know all the information. Since that video, we've had a few more little bits and pieces, but so far, all we really know is the idea of random game length, of the new scoring system, a little bit of terrain. We know that recon is staying. We know that there'll be a new scenario that's a circle and then two rectangles. But that's really it. And so really have to kind of take that, and we're not going to know the full details until April, where it's all out for play testing, and then in Lock and Load, that's where it's going to be officially released. So do know that as we chat about this, that we don't have all the information. Now, that being said, in my first video, I didn't want to do this whole marrying together because that's really making more assumptions. I agree with you guys that in order for you to give a full, review and tactical breakdown on a system, you need to know how that system works. And so that's why I was really just focusing on this is random game length, this is how it works, this is why I'm concerned, and then this is the new scoring system, this is how it works, this is why I'm concerned, and if I'm going to go now put together, now there's going to be a few more assumptions. So what I'm going to be doing in this video here is I'm going to talk about what really happens when you put these two elements together, what I think the Privateer Press is trying to do, and unfortunately, what I think will result instead. Now, the first part of this is the changing in scoring. So you're going to be going into these games, and now you don't win by getting 5 points. Now you need to get 6 more points than your opponent, which makes it really hard to win off scenario. Since the last time they've actually come out and said, like, they don't really want people winning off just like jam and win on scenario anymore. So that kind of really shows this. Certain pieces can only score on certain elements, whereas the casters, flags can only be scored on by casters now. The circles can only be gone on by infantry and solos, and the rectangles, just the jacks and the battle engines. And of course their counterparts in the horde side. So that's going to make it very hard to actually get any points in a scenario type game, and the idea of winning by having 6 more points than your opponent probably really won't happen unless you're way ahead of your opponent, and that's the way you're closing down the game. But here's the thing. If the game ends and you have more control points than your opponent, boom, you win. And where that then becomes important is the random game length. Because if you just said that, it's like, well, who cares? We still play till assassination scenario or death clock, right? Well, if you add in time turns, all of a sudden that adds a little bit more pressure. It really says now in the game that, okay, I'm up a couple of control points. It might not be scary for me trying to win this game on scenario, but if random game length says this ends at end of game 5, I have the winning ticket that says I just win. I don't care what else you've done in this game, because I'm holding this currently. I'm now in the lead of the control points. I just win. And so from looking at this and trying to think of what Privateer Press wants from it, they're probably thinking that the game will be a lot more aggressive. You have to really get in there. You can't just really give up a lot of control points and just knowing that you're going to win off, scenario or caster kill. You have to really make sure that you're getting into all these areas, trying to really send out the right pieces so that they can score in the right areas, because you always want to be in that lead, right? If you are ever not winning on control points, you are under threat that random game length will take it away from you, and because of this, and wanting to go after all the different areas, you're going to see more balanced lists as people want to try and score on every possibility, and you're also going to see people playing a lot more aggressive as they just want to get in there and make sure that they're either contesting or scoring, because again, when you get to the end of the game, you want to make sure that you got that winning ticket saying, I have more control points, and then you walk away with the win. So, looking at it from that, and again, I'm putting words into Privateer Press's mouth. This is me making assumptions off of what I'm looking at as a system. Looking at that, intrinsically, it's like, well, that's not a bad thing, right? The whole idea that you want players to be playing a little bit more aggressively, get in there, trying to balance out the list, sure, why not? However, here's the problem. I think that when people actually start playing this, it's going to start falling apart. I'm sure in the very beginning, when people start playing this game, they're going to get into this, they're going to try and like, go, 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 I got to get on those control points, and then they're going to kind of realize, I don't have to. Much of us already know, and even, it was funny because them there at the studio already even said too, like, oh, don't worry about random game length, it's only come up a couple of times during playtests. Well, if this whole system really centers on something that rarely happens, who's gonna really care, right? I'm just gonna keep on playing my game. If I'm going for attrition and winning on scenario, or if I'm trying to go for assassination, I'm not gonna really care about that stuff. And in fact, people being worried about how this thing might go, like, oh, I don't have to worry about time turns, or random game length rather, well, I'm gonna take more assassination lists. And the more ultra-aggressive lists we see, with the more assassination pieces that we see, the shorter the games will be in general. And then if there's shorter games in general, and we're just never seeing this game turns around 6 or more, well, then this whole idea is going to start becoming less and less important. And so, again, at its base, that's not really a bad thing. If we have something that's forcing you to go, 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 and really the whole stick part almost never comes in, it's only just a carrot, well, that's great. However, this is where we get to the point of stalling, which I think will be a real problem in the game when people start seeing how this is starting to actually play out. So, first of all, go, 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 we gotta make sure that we don't have random game length. Next thing, oh, I just gotta do an assassination game and we can relax. It's actually okay. 5 rounds is all I need. The third stage is people saying like, oh, if we're playing this and it's getting near the end and I'm ahead on points, I'm just gonna go install this thing out here, guys. You know, it's one of these things where the only time you'd normally see this in Mark II, or not Mark II, in the Steamrollers 2016 and prior, would be more so on Death Clock, right? I could go in there and I could push, push, push and try and win on assassination or scenario, but they're about to clock out, so I'm just going to back away because I don't really give a damn. Or the whole idea where like I could go, go, go and try and win on assassination, or I could just go over here and win on scenario and yay! So those things already kind of happened, and, you know, for the most part, you know, if somebody is losing by death clock, it's their own fault. If somebody is winning by the attrition and, you know, they're going to be losing by scenario, that's kind of something they had their hands on. However, no matter what happens in any game, somebody's going to be ahead in the control points. Okay, I suppose it could be tied, but you're going to have somebody that's going to be in the lead and somebody who's not in the lead, and as it starts getting around turn 3, turn 4, that person is automatically going to start saying, I'm up in control points. If I just make sure I don't lose any more, I'm probably just going to automatically win this. And this is where it's really going to start coming into the fact that I talked about, that you can really target those scoring pieces from your opponent. So whereas normally you'd be trying to prioritize the things that can do the most damage or are threatening, you'll be like, huh, okay, so this side you can only score with Jack, so if I kill off that Jack, okay, great, now you can't score there. And, okay, the infantry here, if I just kill off that solo and that unit, oh, now they can't score there? Alright, well, if you're not scoring, that means I'm ahead and I'm just going to win. Sure, you can bring up your caster and he can start scoring, but then I'm probably going to kill your caster, if you know what I'm saying. So, it's going to be a real temptation in every single time to go to the stalling. Now, I've heard people saying, like, stalling's not real, you can't stall a game, I'm going to kick your ass. Actually, that's not really true at all. You know, if people have the right pieces, right? Like, oh, I got this large, long rectangle. Let's look at that one scenario that we've seen so far, where there's a circle in the center and 2 rectangles on the outside. Well, those rectangles on the outside can only be scored on by jacks. So a jack, in order to go there, would have to be going to the outside. It's kind of not really wants to be. And if you ever want to contest it, a model just has to go at the very tips of the outside corners. And then even if a jack does go over, they can't score anyway. So that one's actually pretty easy to shut down. Same thing for the circle. Just have anything in the circle can be hiding on your own side of the zone, and they're not scoring. And again, if they want to score with that, they have to have a unit in there or bring their caster in there, and that can't always be the easiest thing to do. So it's going to be a real thing there to be saying that, all right, we're getting near to the end of the game. If I just back away and keep safe and make sure I can test everything, I just win. And I think that is a really huge negative play experience. You know, and it's also kind of completely counter to everything that Privateer Press is wanting to do. We were saying that, or from my assumptions from looking at it, is they want players to be like, go, 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 we're going to fight, fight, fight. And the silly thing is you're going to get halfway through the game and be like, oh, wait a second, is it time to not fight, 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 and just back away and start making this a little bit more of just, I gotta wait a couple of turns and I automatically win? And that's gonna be a huge negative thing. Just to see like, oh damn, I've been fighting with my opponent and now he just target these pieces, these other pieces are backing away because, oh my lord, if I don't kill him in the next 2 turns, random game length can come in and I could just lose just like this. Then we get into the other parts I was saying about like, hey, on a 5+ I win, on a 1-4 we keep on going and you probably win. We get into that whole issue too, but man, it just seems like stalling is going to be something that will just be a real part of the game, and I don't see how that's a positive piece of the game. I mean, already as it was, if that was Privateer Press's mission, that you want to make these games as aggressive and go, go, go as possible, well, I kind of feel that was already kind of part of it, right? Because we have Deathclock. Deathclock's always saying like, all right, you better hurry up, tick, 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 right? And so you already were kind of going in there and wanting to do your thing. The only time that you're really backing away is when they're about to clock out or something like that, right? You need to get in there. You need to contest those scenarios, otherwise they're just going to be winning. And now, another point you could look at this as well, is if you're a player who's going 100% assassination and knowing now that every single scenario is going to be having kill box, you know, they might not even want to be jumping in there either. They'll be like, well, there is no way for us to have to worry about turn 5. So as before, the way that you might beat these super shooty assassination lists is rush in the middle, capture those zones, and win on scenario. Well, now it's like, okay, good for you. You got a couple of points. You're not up on 6 on me, so I don't really care. And I'm going to go for an assassination. Oh, I failed, and you scored some more points. You're still not up 6 on me. All right, okay, there we go. Now we killed your caster, and I win. Nice, awesome. And it's just, this really doesn't seem like the game that Privateer Press wants to put forward. And again, I'm making assumptions here. I'm going to be completely honest and forward with this, that I am assuming that this is what Privateer Press wants from their game, and that's what these rules are supposed to be bringing about. So we'll have to kind of see. Again, one of the things I said on the Pressganger forums is that please, when we're doing these play testing and you're saying try out these rules, tell us what the intention is behind it. Because it's one thing to play out a rule and say that, oh, this rule works, you know, the game doesn't crash and burn, you can play a game with this. But if we can get their intentions behind what they're actually trying to do with the game, all of a sudden the Pressgangers and everyone doing the play testing with them can give that feedback back to them, saying, oh, you were actually trying to bring in a rule that would bring about this? Well, no, this rule like worked in game, like it was okay, but it certainly didn't do this. And did you think about doing this other thing instead? And all of a sudden there, you start having a lot more of a interactive play testing that can bring about a much better result. So we'll have to see if that's what Privateer Press will be doing here in April when they do their play testing of this. At this point, all we can do is, like what I'm doing this whole video here, is make assumptions of what they're trying to do and then try like almost like planning ahead. Because even when you get into it and you're doing play testing, you might just get to those first couple of stages, right? Like, oh, there's random game length, go, go, go. Oh, I don't need to worry about that. Now I can just go and just relax a little bit. We might not even see that third stage yet going to stalling. That's something that can take a while for people to catch on and start playing. And so I just really hope that everybody takes the time to think these things through, because if we don't, we got to keep this for an entire year, right? I'm going on and I'm talking about this now, but that's because if we don't get this corrected when this comes out as a playtest, we're locked in, and this is the way we're playing till the next lock and load. So there you go, guys. Please comment down below. I really want this to be an interactive thing where we're talking about these ideas. Do you agree that that's what Privateer Press is trying to do? That they're trying to force everyone to be more aggressive and getting in there and playing an aggressive attrition scenario game, looking to have that winning ticket if the game ever randomly ends? And do you agree with me that that's the way it's going to play out? That people will be trying to really push it first, then realize games usually stop before turn 6 anyway, and then they're going to try stalling to win with that golden ticket. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.